Jackie Cruz, the CEO of Air Cruise, meets Larry solely for business purposes. However, Larry mistakenly assumes that because he is now legally divorced and Jackie is also single, they are essentially on a date. Jackie promptly clarifies the situation and redirects the conversation back to business. Nevertheless, when Jackie mentions Dallas, Larry remembers his ex-wife's fondness for the city. Overcome with emotion, he begins to weep and discloses the details of his divorce, expressing how much he still misses her, alongside other uncomfortable revelations. Recognizing this as her cue to depart, Jackie instructs him to stand up so they can exit immediately. Meanwhile, Daniel Blanchflower is on a date with his girlfriend Tanya. They converse about various topics, including Daniel's new position at Air Cruise. Their evening proceeds smoothly until an intoxicated Tanya creates a disturbance while aggressively demanding that Daniel stand up and dance with her. Given his reserved demeanor, Daniel apologizes to the restaurant's patrons and subsequently escorts Tanya to her residence. Still inebriated, Tanya invites him inside. He politely declines, already feeling sufficiently uncomfortable. Outside the restaurant, Larry approaches Jackie as she prepares to enter her vehicle to apologize. She suggests that he consider calling his wife, as she might be thinking of him as well, before she departs. The following day, Daniel arrives at the corporate office, coinciding with Jackie's arrival. They ascend to work via separate elevators. As Daniel walks toward his office, he passes a completed file to a colleague. The colleague suggests he take additional time, noting that Mr. Vance will be furious if any errors exist. Daniel firmly asserts that the work is flawless and walks away. He then greets Claire, who immediately reveals that she is actually not doing well, detailing a rash behind her knees. Unenlightened by these personal details, Daniel instructs her that when he inquires if she is all right, her standard response should simply be, "all right." Jackie consults with her assistant, Sydney, who inquires about the previous evening. Jackie describes it as utterly miserable, explaining that Larry not only made romantic advances, but also wept over his wife. She questions who circulated the information regarding her single status. Sydney informs her that the public is well aware of it. Jackie expresses panic regarding the Falcon Airlines litigation, but Sydney reassures her that Peter Vance will handle the matter. Meanwhile, Mr. Vance is eating a burrito while concurrently conducting a professional phone call, causing him to choke on his food. While the team discusses his medical state, Daniel questions who consumes a burrito for breakfast and inquires about his well-being. Sydney arrives to inform them that Mr. Vance has a tube down his throat and has requested that Daniel assume control of the Falcon Airlines deposition. Daniel is instructed to report to Miss Cruz's office within 5 minutes. Upon Sydney's departure, the team warns Daniel that Jackie is intimidating, advising him to remain silent, speak minimally, and avoid breathing audibly since she despises the sound. They jokingly suggest that if he must breathe, he should swiftly inhale from the side of his mouth, which further unnerves him. Daniel enters Jackie's office, but his confidence immediately dissipates. He is utterly starstruck by her appearance and forgets his prepared remarks, awkwardly uttering, "Yo, Jackie," manifesting as a nervous wreck. Jackie summons Sydney to ask if the deposition can be rescheduled, but Sydney refuses, noting that a postponement would imply they are attempting to conceal something. Daniel reassures Jackie that despite his temporary nervous breakdown, he is an exceptionally competent attorney and requests an opportunity to prove himself. Jackie and Daniel proceed to meet the proprietor of Falcon Airlines to discuss the lawsuit. An opposing counsel accuses Jackie of either spending the night with or bribing the chairman of the Dallas-Fort Worth board, implying the deal was secured following their evening together. He insolently asks whether they returned to a hotel room or visited an ATM after dinner. An irritated Jackie demands clarification on the specific accusation. Did she bribe him or sleep with him? She requests a private word with Daniel and steps outside. She demands to know if he intends to speak at all, noting that Mr. Vance would have silenced the opposition by now. Daniel reassures her that he possesses prior experience in these matters. Jackie insists that he demonstrate his capability inside, and they return to the meeting. As Bill and his legal counsel conclude their questioning, Daniel intervenes to pose his own queries. He notes that Bill appears remarkably knowledgeable about Miss Cruz's expenditures with Mr. Johnson, including their specific meal. Bill proudly confirms this. Daniel states his question is quite straightforward and asks how Bill acquired this information. This leaves Bill completely flabbergasted. Bill claims the data was provided by an interested party. When Daniel presses for the identity of this individual, Bill identifies him as Paul something, which Paul Huntingford, Mr. Johnson's personal assistant, corrects. Daniel then asks Bill if he compensated him or merely slept with him. The opposing party is left entirely speechless and abruptly exits the room. Jackie summons Daniel to her office to apologize, expressing gratitude for his performance and praising his work. He remarks that she would be astonished to learn how many prominent attorneys choke on pieces of sausage. Jackie thanks him once more for his support and extends her hand. Daniel suddenly experiences an involuntary erection, leaving Jackie horrified. Following an awkward exchange, Daniel departs, berating himself for his bizarre behavior. Left alone, Jackie reflects on the incident and laughs. Later, Daniel enters the office in a sullen mood and refuses to explain the reason to Claire, stating it is a private matter. Noticeably offended, Claire informs him that Ms. Cruz has requested his presence. Upon his arrival, Jackie informs him that due to Mr. Vance's hospitalization, she requires Daniel to oversee the legal department. Sydney subsequently requests that Daniel leave, but Jackie intervenes, stating she needs to discuss a specific matter, and excuses Sydney. She tells Daniel that the events of the prior evening were absurd and should be forgotten. They converse about Jackie's father, Captain Jack Cruz, with both of them fumbling over their words before Daniel exits. They express mutual anticipation for their professional meeting on Monday. Over the weekend, Daniel visits his sister in prison. Meanwhile, Jackie virtually implores Sydney to begin her maternity leave and comes close to disclosing her recent encounter with Daniel, but she hesitates mid-sentence and departs, leaving Sydney highly intrigued. At the correctional facility, Daniel meets his sister, Elizabeth. She asserts that she does not require his supervision and advises him to return home, noting that Americans are not his type. Observing a subtle shift in his expression, Lizzie immediately discerns that he is romantically interested in someone. Daniel admits there is an individual, but explains they cannot be together. After several eccentric guesses from Lizzie, Daniel reveals that the woman is his employer. She urges him to invite her out, but Daniel objects, stating he cannot engage in a romance where he earns his livelihood. Lizzie notes that she literally does so. Daniel explains that professional ethics forbid it, as he would face disbarment, lose his visa, and be unable to remain without Elizabeth. Mr. Vance returns to the office, where Daniel greets him and offers an update on the Falcon Airlines deposition. Vance declines, stating he intends to present the judge with a summary judgment so massive that the judge will choke while reviewing it. Disapproving of this strategy, Daniel attempts to offer an alternative, but Mr. Vance silences him, declaring that the little puppy must rest now that the big dog has returned, followed by an imitation of a bark. Daniel awkwardly exits the office. Sydney presents Jackie with an absurd 200-page document drafted by Vance, which urges the judge to dismiss the litigation. Jackie summons Daniel to ask if he believes this document will serve their interests. He responds that it constitutes a monumental blunder. After assuring Jackie that they will resolve the issue, Daniel departs. Sydney then inquires if a romantic involvement exists between the two of them, which Jackie denies. Jackie, Sydney, and Daniel proceed to Mr. Vance's office, where Jackie informs him that Daniel will assume responsibility for the Falcon Airlines deposition. Vance objects, asserting that they cannot demote him given his extensive contributions to the airline, threatening to resign if the case is reassigned. Later, Jackie contacts Daniel regarding an emergency board meeting scheduled for 8 a.m., requesting his presence. At the meeting, the board members aggressively confront Jackie for replacing Mr. Vance, speaking to her quite rudely. Jackie attempts to explain that Daniel is fully qualified and that the decision falls under her purview as CEO, but the board disregards her arguments. Jack Cruz arrives amidst the tension, greeting the attendees and addressing Jackie as Gorda, which translates to little fatty. As the board members begin declaring Jackie unfit to serve as CEO, Daniel intervenes. He proclaims that he is overqualified for his position and emphasizes that Jackie has consistently made highly capable decisions that have generated millions of dollars for everyone present. He argues they should maintain their trust in her until she actually delivers a poor decision. Sydney supports his statement, and Captain Cruz concurs, leading the board to proceed in accordance with Jackie and Daniel's direction. Jackie expresses her gratitude to Daniel. As they continue to work closely, the two grow increasingly intimate, and their palpable chemistry is observed by Sydney. Despite this, they attempt to maintain a strictly professional relationship. Daniel is subsequently called into George's office for utilizing inappropriate language, which he defends as standard phrasing from his place of origin. While there, he questions George regarding the company's zero-tolerance policy against intra-office dating, labeling it unrealistic. George firmly upholds the policy, and Daniel exits. He encounters Jackie on his way out and greets her. Jackie then approaches George to question the same zero-tolerance dating policy, likewise branding it highly unrealistic. During a subsequent briefing, Sydney informs Jackie of an additional lawsuit filed by a passenger, noting that the presiding judge has requested that Jackie personally hear the plaintiff's grievances. Jackie initially declines, but upon learning the venue is the Dominican Republic, she immediately consents. When staff members inquire which legal representative will accompany her, the collective consensus favors Rachel. However, Jackie selects Daniel, and after a highly chaotic debate, it is finalized that Daniel will join her. They depart on her private aircraft, Cruise 1. Daniel exhibits severe anxiety regarding her piloting skills, but Jackie reassures him that she will not allow him to fall out of the sky, which successfully pacifies him. Upon arriving at the island, they meet with the plaintiff to hear his account, though both are heavily distracted by their mutual attraction. Following the meeting, they retreat to their respective quarters until Jackie eventually invites Daniel to dinner, an invitation he accepts without hesitation. They engage in light-hearted conversation over dinner and agree to a single drink, which subsequently escalates into several. Jackie invites Daniel to dance. He hesitantly agrees, but initially stands motionless on the dance floor until she moves around awkwardly. He ultimately pulls her close and kisses her, after which they retire to their room. In the morning, a room service attendant knocks, delivering coffee and breakfast. Once the attendant leaves, they mutually decide it is best to disregard the events of the night and behave as though nothing occurred. Back at the office, Jackie visits the legal department and discreetly invites Daniel to dinner via a sticky note concealed within a contract file. Sydney observes her exiting the department and demands to know her business there. Jackie retorts that Sydney is far too pregnant to monitor her every step and should return home. Sydney refuses to drop the matter, noting that Jackie has behaved oddly since returning from the Dominican Republic and asserting that she is close to uncovering the truth. Jackie and Daniel share dinner at her residence and discuss their backgrounds. Daniel discovers a room filled entirely with British memorabilia, which Jackie explains is merely a joke, until Daniel emerges dressed as a royal guard, sparking her excitement. They resolve to pursue a relationship, but agree to keep it strictly confidential. As they begin dating, they spend an evening at the beach, where Jackie inquires about Daniel's plans for the following day. He notes he has a private matter to attend to, which arouses Jackie's suspicion. Daniel returns to the correctional facility to visit Elizabeth, unaware that Jackie is spying on him. Daniel informs Elizabeth that he successfully secured the girl, leaving her delighted to see her brother so happy. After Daniel exits, Jackie enters the facility and persuades the guard to grant her an audience with the same inmate Daniel visited. She meets Lizzie, who warns her to treat her brother well, and the two converse. Upon exiting the facility, Jackie discovers Daniel waiting for her. He is furious that she followed him, while she is frustrated that he deceived her. A massive argument ensues, culminating in Jackie's departure. During a subsequent press conference, Jackie assures investors that the corporation is performing optimally. A reporter presses her regarding the Falcon Airlines litigation, and she defers to their chief legal officer. Daniel steps forward, branding the lawsuit entirely frivolous and expressing absolute certainty regarding their eventual victory. Caught in a sudden wave of anxiety, Jackie blabbers to the press that she would never sleep with a colleague, a client, an employee, or an attorney. They manage to salvage the conference and walk away. While the staff congratulates them on handling the situation effectively, Jackie berates herself for her public outburst. In a private conversation, Jackie and Daniel conclude that their relationship is not worth risking the collapse of the enterprise, and they subsequently break up. At a later meeting, Jackie pointedly comments on Daniel's late arrival. He informs her that Falcon Airlines has filed an injunction to freeze their gates in Dallas. She interrupts him, stating they cannot tolerate such an outcome and ordering him to halt it immediately. He reveals that he has already resolved the issue by filing an opposition, which the judge granted while denying the airline's motion, explaining that this legal victory is the reason he is precisely 1 minute late. Sydney subsequently arrives at Daniel's office to demand clarity regarding his status with Jackie, asserting that while individuals can conceal being in love, absolutely no one can hide being in conflict. As she delivers this threat, her water breaks, and she enters labor. A panicked Daniel clears his desk for her convenience, and Jackie arrives shortly thereafter. Sydney adamantly refuses to push until they disclose the truth of their relationship, prompting Jackie to confess everything. Sydney successfully gives birth to a baby girl. Later, Jackie is recounting the office birth to staff members when Sydney arrives. Though everyone urges her to rest and take a leave of absence, she resolutely declines. Jackie informs Sydney and Daniel that William Button has invited her to a consultation, seeking their advice on whether to attend. They advise her to go, noting it likely signifies either his admission of defeat or a potential acquisition offer for the airline. Jackie meets with William Button, who demands that she release the disputed gates so he can acquire them. She refuses, stating his lawsuit will fail. He concedes that he anticipated the litigation's failure and has consequently enacted a contingency plan. Julie Schatz approaches their table and delivers an envelope to Bill, who introduces her as his private investigator. He informs Jackie that Julie has tailed her for months to obtain leverage, which she successfully achieved. Julie offers a brief apology, stating it is her sole talent, but notes that Daniel and Jackie make a highly attractive couple. Jackie opens the envelope to find surveillance photographs of herself and Daniel kissing and dating. Seeking counsel, Jackie visits Peter Vance, who is now operating a burrito food truck. He advises her to simply follow her heart, explaining that an inner voice exists within her which took him 40 years to acknowledge, and all she must do is listen to it. Daniel enters Jackie's office while she is on a phone call with Captain Jack. He presents his formal resignation letter, explaining that regardless of her next steps, she will require legal representation, and his presence is untenable given the existence of the photographs. He notes he has secured a position with a firm in Manhattan, thanks her, and turns to exit. However, he pauses to tell her that she is an outstanding CEO, and he cannot comprehend why she allows her father to dictate her life, adding that next to him, she is treated as little more than a mascot. This remark infuriates Jackie, who commands him to leave. Jackie subsequently informs Sydney of her intention to resign. A disgruntled Sydney confronts Daniel, demanding to know why he is abandoning Jackie to face this crisis alone. Meanwhile, Jackie engages in a fierce confrontation with her father regarding his years of manipulation before walking away. During a meeting at his new Manhattan law firm, Daniel undergoes a change of heart, resigns on the spot, and rushes out to locate Jackie. Just as Jackie prepares to formally announce her abdication as CEO at a live press conference, Daniel enters the room. He shouts to the assembly that Miss Cruz and he slept together, noting that since the information is now public knowledge, Bill can no longer leverage the photographs against her. He implores her not to resign, praising her brilliance. Jack stands up to validate his claims, asserting that Jackie is the true intellect behind the operation. Daniel then confesses his love for her before the entire audience. Jackie officially announces that she will not be stepping down, emphasizing her value to the company. She steps down from the podium and approaches Daniel. Although she notes she could still face the loss of her position, Daniel promises he will never let her fall. The two share a kiss as the room erupts into applause.